Alright, so let's make a video of some of these factoring problems first, and then I'll send you another video with those radical equation problems. Alright, so our first one, we want to factor 60x plus 50. All we can do is take out a greatest common factor here. So what goes into both 60 and 50? Well, 10 does. So let's take out a 10. And when we take out a 10, we go 10 into 60, will leave me a 6, and my x is still there. And 10 into 50 will leave me a 5. And that's it. And it's done. Now, with a trinomial where we have an x squared, we're going to factor it as two binomials. So we need to make two sets of parentheses. And then x times x is going to give us x squared. So the first part of the binomial is going to be giving us that x squared. The second part of the binomial, we need to think the factors of 56 that will add to 15. Now we could start listing factors of 56. For example, we can see that 2 goes into it. 2 and 28, I believe. But that's not going to add to 15. What does add to 15 is 7 times 8 is 56, and the 7 and 8 do add to 15. So we're going to have plus 7 plus 8. Well, let's do the same thing to the next one. We need x and x as the first part of our two binomials. And then we need to think factors of 80 that add to 18. Well, we can, the first one that probably comes to mind there, since it ends with a 0, is 10 and 8. And 10 and 8 does add to 18. So, positive 10 and positive 8. And it doesn't matter whether we put the 8 first or the 10 first. Now, this is a harder problem, this one right here, because there's not a 1 in front of x squared, there's something else. So when we think about what's in front of x squared, we can't just have x and x. We need something that multiplies to give us that 3 too. Now the only thing that gives us 3 will be 1 and 3. So we can have a 1x and a 3x. And we don't really have to write a 1. Alright, now the only thing here at the end that factors to give us a negative 1 would be a negative 1 and a positive 1. So let's try negative 1 and positive 1. I might have my sign in the wrong place. If so, we'll find out in a second. But what we've got to do whenever there is a number in front of our x squared is check our inside and outside and make sure it adds to this middle term. So let's check. We're going to go negative 1 times 3x, that's negative 3x. And I didn't give myself enough room, so let me switch out of the draw for a second and just kind of put some more room in here. Okay, there we go. Alright, now I'll go back to the draw. Now let's check the outside. 1x times 1 is 1x. Now if I add negative 3x and 1x, that's negative 2x, and I really need a positive 2x. All I have to do to get a positive 2x is just switch those two signs and I'll have the right answer. So let me turn the draw off. I want to switch this to the plus and this to the minus. And now, whoops, this to the minus. And now that's going to change this to a plus and this to a minus, which will add to the 2x in the middle. So I now have the correct factors. Alright, now that last one. Okay, so every single one of these terms has this stuff in parentheses. So we're going to pull that stuff in the parentheses out to the front, factor it out as the greatest common factor, and I think I can just copy and paste. I can, yay! Okay, and now when I pull that out, what's left is this 21x squared an x right here and a negative 36 right here. Alright, now I've got to factor this stuff right here, just like I factored this stuff right here. Alright, so I'm going to just sort of carry the, whoops, I didn't mean to do it right there. I'm going to carry that 2x squared minus 5 to the 4th down to the next step. It's just going to hang around with us. But let's go ahead and factor the 21x squared plus x minus 36. Now this might take several attempts because there are a lot of possibilities with 21 and 36. So 21, well, 7 times 3 is 21, or we could try 1 and 21, but it's more likely to be 7 times 3. So let's try 7x and 3x to get our 21x squared. And then let's think of factors of negative 36. We could use 9 and 4, we could use 12 and 3, we could use 2 and 18, or 1 and 36. It's commonly, though, things that we think of most often. It could be 6 and 6. Now, 6 and 6, I can already know that 6 and 6 is not an option. And the reason is because we'll never put a greatest common factor in here with this 3, and 3 will go into 6. So we don't want to put 6 and 6 in here. But 9 and 4 we can use because we can put the 4 over here with the 3 and not have a factor that comes out. So let's try, one of them has to be negative to get a negative 36. So let's put a negative 9 and a positive 4. And we'll see if 9 and 4 will actually work in this combination. So let's check our inside and our outside. Let me go to my draw here. If I check the inside, that's negative 27x. And if I check the outside, 7x and 4, 7x times 4 is 28x. And we want those two to add together to be our middle term, which is just positive 1x. And in fact, negative 27 and 28x do add to this middle term, positive x. So there it is. That's what we put in.